All right. Another day, another 10 questions. Maybe we'll get more than 10. Excuse me. Question number 21. A third and 7 at the A15. At the snap, A67. So 67 by numbering is an ineligible receiver, right? Moves 5 yards downfield and then retreats behind the neutral zone and blocks for QB A9, who eventually throws a legal forward pass to A12 at the A30. Is this a legal play, or is it an ineligible A player illegal downfield? All right, the rule references 7.5.12, and it states that ineligible A players may not advance beyond the expanded neutral zone. Remember, that's our you can read the definition right there. It's maximum of 2 yards behind the defensive line of scrimmage in the field of play. Okay. On a legal forward pass, before a legal forward pass that crosses the neutral zone is in flight. So that means the second the ball leaves the quarterback's hand, then that's when we judge whether the lineman is illegally downfield. Now, notice it has to pass across the neutral zone. So if we have a screen pass behind the neutral zone, then we can have linemen downfield, no problem. Okay, everybody understand that. If B touches the pass in or behind the neutral zone, the restriction is terminated. Okay. If we go to the case book here, 7.5.12a, it's this exact question. Well, it's a little different, but so basically it says lineman A1 moves about 3 yards downfield, finding no one to block, retreats behind the neutral zone and blocks for A2, who eventually throws a forward pass which crosses the neutral zone. Ruling: A1 is an ineligible illegally downfield. The prohibition against ineligibles downfield for A starts at the snap, and the fact that A1 was no longer downfield when the pass was thrown has no bearing on the ruling. Okay, so back to the question. The answer is B. Question 22. A third and goal at the B9, scores A20, B27. With 9 seconds remaining in regulation, Team A scores a touchdown as time expires. During the down, B63 swears at the umpire. Okay, so we've got an unsportsmanlike conduct foul, right? So the choices for the answers are: the penalty may be enforced on the first play of overtime if overtime is to be played, or the penalty must be enforced on the try. And he has several rule references here. They all say the same thing. This one deals with an opponent of the scoring team committing a foul when there was no change of possession. This one deals with the same thing, but there was a change of possession. And this one deals with unsportsmanlike or non-player foul, which is the one we have, is the situation we have rather. And you can see that the choice is on the try or on the subsequent kickoff. And because there's no kickoff in overtime, that's not a choice. So they would have to accept the penalty on the try. So the answer is B. Okay, A first and 10 at the A34. During a pass attempt, A68 holds B53 at the A24. A9's pass is intercepted at the A49 and returned for a touchdown. Do we A, enforce A's penalty only on the try, only on the subsequent kickoff, on either the try or the kickoff, or none of the above? So the rule reference is 8.2.3. And it says, if an opponent of a scoring team commits a foul other than unsportsmanlike conduct or non-player foul during a down in which a touchdown is scored and there was a change of possession, that's the situation we have here, during the down, and such foul occurs after the change of possession, the scoring team may accept the results of the play and choose enforcement of the penalty on the try or the subsequent kickoff. So this foul occurs before the change of possession, right? So basically the scoring team has to decline the penalty in order to keep the touchdown. All right? So the answer to 23 is D, none of the above. All right, question number 24. K 4th and 6 to the K17. During a legal scrimmage kick, R56 runs into kicker K18 at the K6. The kick is caught by R32 at the K40 and run back to the R25. K accepts the penalty. Now, I want to make a point here, guys. You see these rules references that he has on there. I'm changing a lot of these. Those rules references that you see, 10.4.3, for instance, deal with PSK fouls, and the test author is trying to make the point that this is not a PSK foul, but I don't want to confuse you with rule references that don't really pertain to this play. Okay, this isn't a PSK foul because K will be the next. Be the next to put the ball in play. It says K accepts the penalty, so K will be the next. Be the team to put the ball in play on the next down. So it's not PSK. It is a loose ball play. Remember, a kick, right? So it's the enforcement spot is going to be the previous spot. We had a 4th and 6. Running into the kicker is prohibited by 9.4.5 and is a 5-yard penalty. So it would result in K 4th and 1 at the K22. That's answer A. Question 25. A 3rd and 9 at the A8. So they're on their own 8-yard line. At the A6, quarterback A3 pitches the ball backwards to A18 at the A2. A18 is standing on the A2. At the A4, B89 bats the pass into the end zone where A18 recovers it. Is that a touchback? Is it a safety? Or do we have some sort of foul? Well, batting can be a foul. But in this case, here's the rule against batting down here. No player shall bat a loose ball other than a pass or fumble in flight. So, the prohibition against batting does not apply here. So now what are we dealing with? We're dealing with a ball in the end zone recovered by A. Okay. Who put that ball in the end zone? Well, responsibility for forcing the ball from the field of play across a goal line is attributed to the player who carries, snaps, passes, fumbles, or kicks the ball unless a new force is applied to a grounded backward pass, kick, or fumble. The muffing or batting of a pass, kick, or fumble in flight is not considered a new force. So, force is a very difficult concept, and if you're a new official, you're going to be dealing with this for a while. Okay, but in this case, we've got the bat is actually a thing that put the ball into the end zone, but it was legal and it's not considered a new force. So it was actually the backward pass that put the ball into the end zone where it was recovered by A. So this is a safety. Question number 26. Sorry about that. A 3rd and 9 at the A8. In the shotgun formation, quarterback A3 muffs the snap at the A2. The ball is rolling on the ground at the A1 when B89 touches the ball in an attempt to recover it. The ball rolls into the end zone where A18 recovers it. The covering official rules that the ball would not have gone into the end zone without B89's touch. Do we have a touchback, a safety, or do we have some sort of penalty? Or foul, rather. Same question is very similar to the previous question, but it's not. So let's take a look at the definition for batting. Batting is intentionally slapping or striking the ball with an arm or hand. Okay. Versus a muff, which has several different connotations, but in this case, a muff is the touching of a loose ball by a player in an unsuccessful attempt to secure possession. So a muff could also be on a kick where the receiver, the ball just goes, he touches it, but it goes right through his hands. He doesn't possess it. That's considered a muff as well. This type of touching would be considered a muff. And so that muff is the force, again, but we're brought right back to force, that put the ball into A's end zone. So force is the result of energy exerted by a player which provides movement of the ball. The term force is used in connection with the goal line and only in one direction, i.e. from the field of play and into the end zone. Initial force results from a carry, fumble, kick, pass, or snap. After a fumble, kick, or backward pass has been grounded, a new force may result from a bat, an illegal kick, or a muff. So the new force is applicable here. So we've got a new force which put the ball in the end zone. A recovers, it's a touchback. The answer is A. Okay, question 27. A, 2nd and 13 from the A20. Running down the sideline during a pass play, the line judge unintentionally collides with a Team A assistant coach in the restricted area. Okay, so we have several different penalties. I'm not going to read them off. You can read them. But if you look at the mechanigram right underneath the rule, it says if a game official and a non-player unintentionally collide in the restricted area while the ball is live, the offended team is penalized 15 yards for illegal personal contact. A second offense would result in the ejection of the head coach and a 15-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. And if you read these, that's exactly what he's listed. Okay, so this is a huge deal, guys, right? I mean, 2 of these and your head coach is ejected. It doesn't have to be a collision with the head coach. It could be a collision with anybody in that box, in that restricted area. And this is why you're gonna hear us over and over tell you to keep that area clear. It's not just for safety, it's so that we don't have to deal with this stuff. Okay, enough lecturing. So the answer to number 27 is D, all of the above. All right, question 28. A, 3rd and 20 at the B40. B99 rushes quarterback A11 and strikes him in the face just after A11 has released a pass to A81, who catches the ball at the B30. A81 fumbles the ball at the B24, and it is recovered by A84 at the B33. So that strike to the face is considered roughing the passer. We wouldn't call a 15-yard personal foul for face mask. Instead, it's roughing the passer. And that's significant because roughing the passer also carries with it an automatic first down. So we got roughing the passer, and also roughing the passer is enforced from the succeeding spot, not from the previous spot. So if this had been a face mask penalty during a loose ball play, we'd have to bring it back to the 40 and enforce it. But we're going to enforce from the 33, take it 15 yards, and it'll be A, 1st and 10 on the B18. Let me show you the penalty. Where's the penalty table? 9-4. Okay. 944. Where is it? Oh. There's a lot of penalties here. Okay. So, illegal personal contact, roughing the passer, 15 yards and a first down, and 15 yards and a first down from the dead ball spot when the dead ball spot is beyond the neutral zone and there has been no change of team possession, or otherwise 15 yards and first down from the previous spot. And I hope that makes sense. So, if this guy had fumbled and B had recovered, we'd just take it back to the original, the previous spot, and enforce from 15. But since A recovered, it's going to be enforced from the dead ball spot. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's move on. Okay, question number 29. K, 4th and 17 at the B45. After the kick, R15 bumps K15, which causes the kicker to fall backwards. Is that not no foul? Is it running into the kicker? Is it roughing the kicker? Well, this is a little bit ambiguous, I think. It's hard to say. Bumps implies that it wasn't much of much contact. So the author is saying this is running into the kicker, which would be a 5-yarder. So we could have K 4th and 12 at the B40, or of course they could just decline the penalty and take the results of the play. All right, move on. Okay, question 31, or 30, I'm sorry. K, 4th and 17 at the B45, the exact same situation we had in the previous question. Clearly after the kick is away, R15 forcibly charges into kicker K15, causing the kicker to be knocked down. So I guess he didn't fall backwards. So again, a little bit ambiguous, but he's trying to describe a much harder hit than the previous question, right? So this is roughing the kicker. And you'll notice it's 4th and 17. Roughing the kicker is a 15-yard penalty, but it is also one of the few fouls that carries an automatic first down. All of the fouls that carry an automatic first down begin with the word roughing. Roughing the passer, roughing the kicker holder, and roughing the snapper. So the answer is D. Roughing the kicker, 1st and 10 from the B30. Okay, question 31. A, 2nd 11 at the B35. A83 and B19 are side by side at the B30 when B19 grabs A83. A83 is able to pull away from B19 and runs to the B35 when quarterback A9 throws a legal forward pass towards A83. The pass is incomplete. All right, so let's make a couple of things clear here. The first is that the hold by B19 occurs before the pass is thrown. So this cannot be pass interference, right? That pass interference has to occur after the ball is thrown. Second thing, A83 and B19 can have contact, and it's legal contact until the A player is no longer a potential blocker, and that's the reason that he's got them side by side. He is no longer a potential blocker. He's clearly a receiver. So this is holding, and it's a 10-yard penalty. So the answer is B, holding. A, 2nd and 1 at the B25. Okay, question 32. A, 3rd and 15 at the B40. A15 runs to the B30 where he is tackled. After the play, B86 swears at A15. The Team A head coach immediately comes on the field to the 9-yard mark and berates B86. The Team A coach is charged with an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. So, we've got 2 unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. One by B86 and one by the Team A head coach. And according to 10-2-5, if both if both teams commit unsportsmanlike, non-player, or dead ball personal fouls prior to the completion of penalty administration for those fouls, the distance penalty for an equal number of 15-yard unsportsmanlike, non-player, or dead ball personal fouls will offset. Okay. Any remaining penalties will be enforced separately and in the order of occurrence. That's a lot, and this doesn't happen very often, but in this case, the penalty is offset. So the answer is A. Dead ball fouls offset. A, 4th and 5 from the B30. Now, notice that the result of the play stands, right? Because these are both these fouls occurred after the play was over. All right, let's move on. Okay, these next two questions are not in the paper version of the test. I decided, along with some others, including Steve Coover, that they really were more confusing than they were helpful. So I just made up a couple of questions based on things I saw in the past season. So the first question is, there is no foul designated as hands to the head or hands to the face. Now, we've heard that term a lot, especially in the NFL. But if we go to our little search tool here and type in hands to the face, no matches. Hands to the head, no matches. Now, does that mean that there's not a foul? No, there is a foul. It's just being improperly communicated. And so let's take a look at the rule citings here. 232. It says an offensive player, except the runner, shall not use a blocking technique which is not permissible by rule. Okay, and then grasp for a circle a teammate, uses hands, legs to hook. So these are these last two are the restrictions against holding, or the prohibitions against holding. So if we go to 232 to find out what the illegal blocking techniques are, so here's a whole list of things that a player may do to contact an opponent with arms or hands, provided the technique is legal. And I'm not going to run these, but you guys, especially you new guys, you should know all of these. Okay. Right here, at or below the shoulders of the blocker and the opponent, when the opponent except when the opponent ducks. Okay, get rid of this here. Submarines during the block or after the blocker is committed to his charge. So that is the prohibition against using your hands above the shoulders to block. And if we go back to 923, let's see if I can get back there. Okay, so this defensive player shall not use a technique that is not permissible by rule. And again, 232. Okay. And the penalty right here, 923, the defensive player shall not use a technique that is not permissible by rule, is illegal use of hands. That is the foul we want to report. Not hands to the face, not hands to the head, illegal use of hands. Okay, so the answer to question 33 is true. Okay, this question comes out of several plays during the playoffs that were incorrectly ruled. And so we're going to go over this. An unblocked A or K player who goes out of bounds and returns to the field during the down and catches the ball is guilty of what foul? And you notice the second word, unblocked. Okay, if they're blocked out of bounds, it's a different story, but we're talking about an unblocked player who goes out of bounds either voluntarily or by mistake. He steps on the sideline and then catches the ball is guilty of what foul? And we can find the foul in 961. Sorry about that. Now, I'll tell you right now that the foul that was called for this violation was illegal touching. That is what it's referred to in college. But in high school, it is illegal participation. And here's the rule here: prior to the change of possession, and it also tells you if a player is blocked out of bounds by an opponent and returns to the field during the down, he shall return at the first opportunity. So if a player is blocked out and he runs, 10 yards down the field before he comes back in, he can't participate in any way. So illegal participation is a 15-yard penalty. Illegal touching is a 5-yard penalty and a loss of down. So by applying the wrong rule, because we do have illegal touching, but it's not this. The enforcement was wrong. The down was wrong. Pretty much everything about the enforcement was wrong. So remember, when we have a player come in back on the field, unless he just doesn't do anything, just stands there. If he participates in any way, whether he's blocking, screening, catching the ball, whatever it might be, he has illegally participated. And it's a 15-yard foul. So the answer to question number 34 is B, illegal participation. All right, question 35. You'll notice that we're looking at the actual test right now, not that Word document. That's because I've had to redo this question. I got it wrong the first time. And I got it wrong because I'll tell you why. So let's read the question. A, third and goal at the B5. A4 runs for a touchdown, and during the run, B18 grabs A4's face mask. Now this is a 15-yard grab and twist. A chooses to have B18's foul enforced on the kickoff. That's important to the answer to this question. They've already chosen to enforce it on the kickoff. They have the choice, according to Rule 822, if an opponent of a scoring team commits a foul, other than a sportsmanlike or non-player foul, during a down in which a touchdown is scored and there was no change of possession during the down, A may accept the results of the play and choose the enforcement of the penalty on the try or on the subsequent kickoff, right? So A chooses to have it enforced on the subsequent kickoff. So now we're going to have a try. During this successful kick try, so they've gone for 1 point, B67 runs into the kicker, which is why I had to redo this question, because when I read this, I thought he roughed the kicker, but it says runs into it actually said run into the holder, but I changed this to make it a little easier. So he runs into the kicker, and that penalty enforcement is discussed in 835 under tries. If during a successful try a foul by B occurs, A is given the choice of accepting the penalty and replaying the down following enforcement, or accepting the result of the play and enforcement of the penalty from the succeeding spot. Now, the succeeding spot is the kickoff, right? So for the second foul, if A wanted to, they could replay the down They would move the ball half the distance to goal, and they would go for 2. They would not go for 1 because they already got the 1 on the successful try. So they would be going for 2. All right? But they can also just choose to have it enforced on the kickoff. Now, we've already got a 15-yard foul, right? The grabbing the face or the grab and twist of the face mask is the first foul, and that's on a different play. If both these fouls occurred during the same play, we would have to choose which one we're going to enforce. But these are 2 different plays. We have the touchdown score and we have the try. I want to make that very clear. Don't get confused by, whatever. So both fouls cannot be answer A, both fouls cannot be enforced. Team A must decide which foul to enforce. That's not true. Both fouls can be enforced, but both fouls cannot be enforced on the kickoff. Well, the rule says they both can be enforced on the succeeding spot, so that's not true. Both fouls can be enforced, but both fouls cannot be enforced on the 2-point try if attempted. Now, that's true only because we know that A chose to have the face mask foul enforced on the kickoff. So that's the only reason that this isn't true. If A had said we want the penalty enforced on the try, and they go from the 1.5, and we have a foul during the try, we're going to go half the distance from there. We're going to go to the 3/4 line, right? So the only reason that C is true is because A chose to have the face mask foul enforced on the succeeding spot, which is the kickoff. D says B67's foul can be enforced on a 2-point try or at the succeeding spot. B67's foul is the running into the kicker. If the succeeding spot is chosen, it would result in A kicking off from the B30. This is the gotcha part of it. Well, there's a lot of gotchas here actually. But if we read roughing the kicker, or if we read the question that there were 2 15-yard penalties, then they would be kicking off from the B30. But this is actually a 15 and a 5, which would result in kicking off from the B40. And that's the only reason that D isn't true, is simply because of the yardage penalty. An extra point is question 36. An extra point try from the B3. Team A attempts a 2-point try from the left hash. During the successful pass try, A67 holds B53 at the B5 on the right hash. Team A will attempt a kick from the B15. Team A's head coach requests that the ball be placed in the middle of the field for the kick try. So what we've got here is we've got a successful try, a 2-point try, but a foul by A, right? So that negates the successful try. After the enforcement of the enforcement of the foul, which would be from the B5. So this is a loose ball play. The foul occurred behind the basic spot, which is the previous spot. This is called all but one enforcement. So the enforcement's going to be from the spot of the foul, 10 yards back. So they'll be kicking from the 15. So now the question is, can they move the ball from where they previously had it on the left hash? Now they want to put it in the middle of the field. So 831 just describes, that's right down here, just describes what a try is. Okay, we don't really need to dwell on that. If we go down to 838, when a try is replayed, the snap may be from any point between the hash marks on the yard line through the spot of the ball. So yes, they can move the ball. And that 10-4-2 reference is just a definition of the basic spot being the previous spot on a loose ball. So the answer is the request. A, the request is granted. Question 37. A 2nd and 5 at the B36. They're on the left hash mark. A3 throws a legal forward pass to A84 at the B25. A84 runs to the B16, still on the left hash mark where he is tackled. During the run, A92 holds B13 at the B15 on the right hash. Team B accepts the penalty. So this is a penalty enforcement question and also where the ball is placed in relationship to the hash marks. Okay, so we have a foul that occurred on the right hash, but the play ends on the left hash. So the enforcement spot will be the end of the run because the foul occurs. It does not occur behind the basic spot, which is the B16, right? So we're going to go 10 yards back from the B16, and it was 2nd and 5 from the B36. So even though they were penalized, A has a first down. So the correct answer is D. A, 1st and 10 from the B26 from the left hash. Team A fouls. The B captain is the only player permitted to make a decision regarding whether to decline the penalty. I'm not going through all these rule references, guys. This is a new rule this year, and it's prior to the game, the head coach will notify the referee of the designated representative. It's either a coach or a player who will make decisions regarding penalty acceptance or declination. All right, so the answer is false. Okay, question 39. The halftime intermission may be shortened by mutual agreement of opposing coaches if a weather delay occurs during the last 3 minutes of the second period. This is a new rule, so I don't have the new rule book yet, but you can see over here the NFHS new rules right there. Halftime intermission option following weather delay. The halftime intermission may be shortened by mutual agreement of opposing coaches if a weather delay occurs during the last 3 minutes of the second period. That's exactly what it said, so it's true. A, true. Question number 40. The play clock shall be set at 40 seconds when an official's timeout is taken for an injury to an offensive player or an offensive player has an equipment issue. And the rule reference is 361A. Here we go. So, play clock, 25 seconds will be on the play clock and start on the ready for play following an official's timeout as in 357, 3510, except for 357B. So, their bottom line is that this question's false. It's 25 seconds. All right, let's move on.